Hello, this is Pearl, and today I'm going to read Little Pilgrim's Progress, Chapter 26, Vanity Fair. You know that the wicked prince hated the good king who ruled over the celestial city, and it made him very angry to see the pilgrims on their way from his country to that of the king. He had built this city, which was called Vanity Fair, just beyond the dark valley and the wilderness, because he knew that when pilgrims reached its gates, they would be feeling tired and faint, and he hoped that it would be then easy to persuade them to stay there, instead of going farther on the way of the king. So he filled the great city with everything that was pleasant and beautiful. It had broad streets and handsome houses, and the stalls in its market were covered with glittering wares. All day long the people were passing busily up and down. They wore fine clothes and spent their whole time in pleasing themselves. And the wicked prince took care to give them plenty of things to enjoy, so that they might never have a moment to spare in which to think of the king whom they had forsaken. After they had lived in Vanity Fair for a short time, most of the pilgrims forgot the king altogether. And when they saw other pilgrims passing on their way to the celestial city, they were ready to help the servants of the wicked prince in persuading the travelers to give up their journey. It was dark when our two little pilgrims entered the town, so they stayed quietly in a sheltered corner near to the gate until the next morning. As soon as the sun rose, they began their walk through the city, for they thought that if they started early, they might perhaps reach the opposite gate before the streets became crowded with people. But Christian's bright armor and the white suit that Faithful wore were not like the dress of the children in Vanity Fair, and the boys had only gone a very short distance before they were noticed by some lads who were strolling idly about. "There are two little pilgrims," they cried. "Let us go after them and stop them." Christian and Faithful could hear the boys running behind them, but they did not look around. "Don't let us take any notice," said Christian. "Perhaps they will just speak to us." But when the boys came up, they all gathered closely round the little pilgrims and would not let them pass. "Tell us where you have come from," said one. "And who gave you that armor and those white clothes?" cried another. "Why don't you look at the shops?" asked a third. "Boys like you don't want swords and shields. You should sell them and buy some of these beautiful things." Christian scarcely knew what to say, for the boys were all speaking at once, and he felt quite confused. But little Faithful answered bravely, "We don't wish for any of your things. We are going to the celestial city." Then the boys laughed rudely, and one of them pushed Faithful so that he would have fallen if he had not been holding Christian's hand. By this time, many other children had run toward them, and some other people also stopped to see what was the matter. Then one of the wicked prince's servants passed by, and when he saw Christian's shining helmet, he knew that the boys must be pilgrims. So he pushed his way through the crowd and seized them both by their shoulders. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Our prince does not allow children to quarrel in his streets." "We are not quarreling," said Christian. "We were walking along quietly." "That is nonsense," replied the man. "You have called all this crowd and disturbance. You must come with me." "We are the king's pilgrims," said Faithful. "We are not disturbing anybody. We only wish to pass through the city." "I don't know anything about the king's pilgrims," answered the man. "I can see that you two are foolish, troublesome boys, and you must be taken before the governor." So he led them both down the street to the governor's house, and the children of the town followed, laughing and mocking at the poor little pilgrims whom they had brought into such trouble.